Hi, this is Eric with DiffuserDoc.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at replacing the disc and the fan all in one shot in this doTERRA Lotus diffuser. It's kind of a tricky diffuser to take apart, so let's get started. First thing we want to do is take out the splash shield on the top here, and the first thing we need to do is get this screw out in the back here, making sure we can see it. That's the first tricky screw, and what we want to do is just get a screwdriver out in there and remove it. And then I usually just leave that screw out. It doesn't, we'll see later, but it's not really necessary for the structure of it. It's just it's tough to get in and tough to get out. So the next thing we want to do is remove these 4 screws here on the bottom. And I'm going to use an electric screwdriver for those. This uses 2 different sizes of screws, so you would need a screwdriver like this, which is like a 2mm, and this one's a 3mm. Some of the screw heads are larger. These 4 out here on the bottom are small, and then once this is apart, the screws actually get a little bit larger. So this is just a weighted base. We'll set that aside, and now there are 3 screws here that we need to remove, and we can pull the power cord, the power adapter out. It just sort of hangs there. So we'll remove these 3 screws, and I'm going to do that with an electric screwdriver. I'm going to switch bits to a larger bit and take these 3 out. Now, to keep these separated, you know that the first 4 screws are small and they are countersunk. I think the rest of the screws are all the same size. They're all a little bit larger. They'll require a larger screwdriver. Okay, once those have been removed, this bottom piece slides off, and you could either fiddle this power cord through here like that, or you could just leave it connected. Either way. Now, next we want to remove these 2 screws. Also a larger headed screwdriver to remove them. I'm going to go zip through that with the electric just to save time. Okay. Now, once those are out, where'd that go? Oh, here we go. Okay, once those have been removed, it's just slightly clipped in. So just take your fingernail and work your way around, and you'll see that there's just these small clips on the side, small clips on the other side. It's not clipped in very hard. And the next trick is to push up on this section here, because there's a clip over here that you want to slide it up and over. So I'm just pushing this piece towards me, and if you can see, there's a hook right here. You want to unhook the top from that area. And now, great, we have the back off, and we could I'm just going to leave that power cord in place, I think. No, okay. We'll take that up out of the way. So that removes the back. So these are the clips here. One at the top that's hooked in here. So it's a little bit more of a trickier diffuser to take apart. So now what do we have here? We have here's the fan, and here's the disc assembly. First thing I'm going to do is take the fan out. I do have a replacement fan here. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to replace that. Why do you want to replace the fan? If you're seeing mist come out, but it's not blowing out, or you don't hear the fan coming out, hear the fan blowing, chances are the fan's either failed, it may squeal, or it could just be gunked up with crud, or just dust. And this is what a fan looks like if it's full of dust or full of just been running for a long time. And it's a good idea to replace that. You don't want this blowing in your oils and blowing in your home. So a nice fresh new fan is a good idea. So next thing I'm going to do is take the fan out. That'll be removing these 2 screws. And this assembly comes off. This is just a sort of a clip. There's a little bit of double-sided tape at the top. So just pull this white part off slowly. Okay, and you'll see that it's just some double-sided tape inside this clip. And the fan can be removed. There's a little bit of hot glue here and a connector on the side, and just pull, and that'll take the fan out. This fan is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just for demonstration, just to show how to replace it. One of the reasons I took that out, it exposes these 4 screws that let us get to the disc assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this now. Switch back to the smaller screwdriver, which would be this one, to remove. And I'm going to go ahead and use electric real quick to save time. Okay, and here's the disc assembly. Keep my screws together here. Okay, now here's a brand new disc. I think I have one. I have one right here unpacked. To replace this disc, what I'm going to do is use this disc removal tool and put this into these 2 grooves here. You'll see 2 grooves, and then just turn to the left take your time. I'm kind of rushing through this. Get the tool into the 2 grooves and just twist to the left, nice and slow. There we go. And then set the retaining ring aside. And this is the oldest. There's really nothing wrong with this disc right now. It's just a little bit dirty. But if sometimes the original discs are nickel plated, so they'll be a silver in color. Ours are gold in color. They're actually a gold and titanium alloy. They last for a really long time, and they're pretty much impervious to anything you throw at it. Nothing can dissolve or destroy the surface. That's why we use titanium and gold. A new disc. I'm going to grab a new disc and put that into there. One thing you may want to do is clean this spring with some rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip, and then install the new disc. I'm going to insert the retaining ring. If your retaining ring is doesn't look too great, and if it's corroded or pieces are missing or anything, we do sell new retaining rings, so you can put a brand new one in if you like. I can do that here. If it's really corroded, it might give you some trouble replacing it at a later date, but so I'm just putting a brand new one in. You don't have to. Most of the time the ring is just fine. You could also replace the seal underneath the disc if you like. We have replacement seals. There's a little rubber seal under here. You can replace that too. it's a good idea just to keep this from leaking again. So now I've leaking in the first place if it ever does, but if now brand new disc, I'm going to reassemble it. So put it back in the same way it came out. Be careful not to pinch this O-ring, this seal. Make sure it's in place, it didn't fall off. And go ahead and take your time and slide this back in place. Wiggle it back and forth a little bit just to make sure nothing's binding. And then put these 4 screws back in. So let me do that. I'm going to start them by hand so that I don't strip the plastic. There we go. So all 4 of those have been started. And we're going to screw this back in. Now, in this case, for this part, I'm going to do these screws all by hand because I don't want to over-tighten them or strip the plastic out. But make sure we get this settled into place. Otherwise, we'll have, if you have a leak here, then that could be somewhat catastrophic. But we want this back together. There. So that's the new disc, and disc assembly is installed. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a new fan in. And when you replace the fan or install a new fan, you want to make sure that the label on the fan is pointing towards the diffuser. And if you'll notice, you know, there's little fins on here, and that's a heat sink. This gets hot. It's not heat that makes the steam or the vapor, that's the mist that's coming out. It's an ultrasonic process. It breaks the water up into little molecules, but the fan is actually cooling this unit off, and it's also blowing the mist out. So it serves 2 functions. And now I'm going to put this clip back on. Oh, let me orient the wiring. This is sort of important. I want to run the wiring over in a way that I can plug it into this board. So let me plug this in. So I heard a click, and it's plugged back into the board. Push the wiring over, maybe tuck it under the board like this. Make sure nothing's in the way and no wires are in the way of the fan blade. And now I'm going to put this clip back on. Get this started. So I've just replaced the disc and we replaced the fan. So basically all functional parts of this diffuser are brand new now. And this is a tricky one. This doesn't come apart very easily, but it's very serviceable. Okay. So there, new disc, new fan, and time to reassemble. So the next thing we want to do is put this back piece on and run the power cord down through this bottom. Before we do that, and the first step in reinstalling this is to do this clip at the top. So just make that hook and then push up, pushing this way, and this part this way. Make sure we get that clipped in, and then everything's flush here, so we know we got good contact there. Now push these clips together all the way around. Here are little snaps, and then make sure it's together at the bottom. Looks good. And now these 2 screws. These are 2 of the larger screws that we've taken out. Put them in. Next thing we want to do is install this part of the base. So we want to work our power cord down through this hole. That could be a little tricky. It's just kind of get it through here like a puzzle. There we go. Okay. And then this will kind of hold itself in place. These 3, now there's 3 screws back that go back in here. Those are the larger size. Again. 1, 2. The 3rd one. All right, we're almost there. Okay. And now the last part. So we want to put this power connector back in here, just slides in, and then the weighted base. This gap here goes right on top of the power connector, and the base should fit flush, and that uses these 4 really small screws, and those go with this smaller 2mm screwdriver. We carry the screwdrivers on our website. We carry these rings. We also have the silicone seals that go under the disc, the disc tool, the disc removal tool, and we just recently put together a 3D printed version of these splash shields for this diffuser. So those are available on the website as well. And if you have any questions, you can contact us through our support channel on the website, support@diffuserdoc.com. We'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Okay, all 4 screws are installed, and I think we're ready to test. Let's go ahead and give this some power. Put the power in. And so all of the parts that I've used in this video to replace, we carry the discs, the diffuser replacement tool, retaining rings, seals, the fans, they're all available on our website. These screwdrivers are on there as well if you don't have one. And we're happy to answer any questions if you have them. Our website is diffuserdoc.com. You can follow us on Facebook and other social media, Twitter, Instagram. You can email us at support@diffuserdoc.com if you have any questions. I appreciate you watching, and happy diffusing. Bye-bye.